We all know that feeling, right? You're building your business, juggling a million things, chasing sales, crafting your brand, just making sure the wheels are turning.
Mm.
And then you glance over at the finances and it feels like, well, like another full-time job.
Yeah, it really can. That struggle to balance growth with keeping your financial house in order, the folks at Aiming High Solutions, they really nail that in their blog
You
post.
do, and that's exactly what we're diving into today, this idea of full-charge bookkeeping.
It's a term you start hearing more, I think, especially as a business scales up. Put simply, it's a pretty comprehensive way of managing your company's finances. It goes beyond just, tracking what comes in and what goes out.
Okay, so full charge. What does that practically look like? What does it mean day to day?
Well, think of regular bookkeeping as the essential record keeping, right? Logging all the
Some
transactions.
basics.
Exactly. And then accounting, that takes those records to analyze, interpret, maybe plan strategically around the numbers. A full charge bookkeeper, like the Aiming High Solutions material explains, kind of sits in this interesting middle ground.
Yeah, okay.
They handle all that crucial day-to-day recording, sure, but they also take on some of that analysis and reporting work that, well, that often falls under accounting.
Ah, so full charge means they're managing like pretty much all the routine accounting needs.
That's the idea, yeah. They're responsible for the whole cycle, in a sense.
And what kind of business usually finds this most useful? Is it for big corporations, startups?
The blog post points out it's most common and probably most beneficial for small to medium-sized businesses.
Great.
In those kinds of places, a full-charge bookkeeper often reports directly to the owner or maybe top management.
Right, so they become a pretty key player in understanding the company's financial health.
Definitely.
Okay, so if you bring someone like this onto your team, what are they actually doing? What's the job description look like?
It's pretty broad, honestly. It covers the whole spectrum of financial management, really. At the core, yeah, they're meticulously recording every single financial transaction. That's foundational.
Okay, standard bookkeeping stuff first.
Right. But then they're managing accounts receivable, that's the money customers owe you,
Crucial.
and accounts payable, which is what you owe suppliers and, other creditors.
Keeping track of who owes who. The lifeblood, really.
Exactly. And they're also vital for keeping a close eye on cash flow, making sure you actually have enough liquid funds to meet obligations day to day, week to week.
Always important.
And reconciling bank accounts regularly is another key task, making sure your internal books match exactly what the bank says.
No surprises.
Hopefully not. This involves creating and maintaining journal entries, keeping the general ledger accurate. You can think of that as like the master book for all your financial data and making any necessary adjustments along the way.
So detailed work.
Very detailed. And as the blog mentions, they're also reconciling other things, like maybe physical cash on hand, the bank balances we mentioned, and your recorded revenues, making sure it all ties together.
So they're not just like punching in numbers, they're ensuring everything actually lines up. But what about making sense of those numbers? Does that fall to them too?
Yes, that's where the financial reporting and analysis piece comes in. A full charge bookkeeper will typically be preparing and analyzing key financial statements.
Okay, like the P&L balance sheet.
Exactly. Things like your income statement showing profitability and your balance sheet, which is that snapshot of assets, liabilities, and equity. They'll generate regular financial reports for management.
So the owner knows what's going on.
Right. They also gather information if the business needs an audit, and they'll track important financial performance indicators, KPIs, to give you a clearer picture of how the business is actually doing.
That seems like a step up from just basic bookkeeping.
It is. This regular, more in-depth reporting lets owners spot trends, good or bad, much earlier than just looking at year-end taxes. That can be a real game changer for making timely strategic adjustments.
Okay, so trends, insights, that's definitely more than just recording history. What about the less glamorous but critical stuff like taxes?
Oh, absolutely essential. They often handle preparing payroll taxes, getting all the necessary income tax documentation
It's
organized,
huge.
managing sales tax requirements, which
Yeah.
vary everywhere, and they can even prepare your quarterly and annual tax returns in many cases.
Wow.
And just generally ensuring the business is compliant with all the relevant financial regulations and standards. That also falls under their umbrella.
That is a significant weight off a business owner's shoulders, I'd imagine.
No question.
And it doesn't stop at just taxes and reports, does it? There's the day-to-day operational side, too.
Precisely. On the operational side, they're frequently the ones actually issuing invoices to your customers
Getting the money in.
and processing payments to your vendors, preparing bank deposits, maybe managing employee timesheets, actually running the payroll, and handling the remittance of those payroll taxes we just talked about.
So really hands-on with the money flow.
Very hands-on. Managing the daily financial engine of the company, like you said.
And beyond those tasks, are there management responsibilities sometimes?
Yeah, it depends on the size of the place, but they might supervise other accounting staff, maybe payroll clerks or billing clerks if they exist.
Okay.
They'll often be the main point of contact coordinating with external pros, like CPAs.
Right, the certified public accountants.
Exactly. And crucially, they usually work directly with upper management or the business owners themselves, feeding them that vital financial info.
The blog post we're referencing makes a great point, saying they essentially function as a, quote, one-person accounting department. That really clarifies the scope, doesn't it?
It really does. It captures that breadth of responsibility.
So how does this full charge role really differ from, let's say, a regular bookkeeper? What are the core distinctions we should highlight?
Yeah, the Aiming High Solutions material lays this out pretty clearly. If you look at the basic definition and scope, a regular bookkeeper, they're typically focused on those core transaction recording activities, maintaining basic financial records,
The fundamentals.
fundamentals. A full charge bookkeeper, like we've been discussing, takes on a much broader set of accounting tasks. It's just a more advanced role with a wider field of action.
And how does that play out in the specific tasks they handle?
Well, a regular bookkeeper primarily focuses on recording those day-to-day transactions, maybe generating some basic reports, handling standard payroll, routine invoicing, the essentials.
Okay.
A full charge bookkeeper does all of that, but then adds layers. Preparing and analyzing those comprehensive financial statements, creating detailed reports for management decision-making, and, like we mentioned, potentially even supervising other accounting staff.
And who they report to, that sounds like another key difference you mentioned earlier.
It usually is. A regular bookkeeper often works within an accounting team, maybe reporting to an accountant, a controller, or a finance manager.
Part of the larger structure.
Right. Whereas a full charge bookkeeper, because of their more senior role and wider scope, typically reports directly to upper management or the business owner. In smaller companies, they might be the only financial pro internally.
Makes sense. What about qualifications? The background needed for each, is it different?
Generally, yes. For a regular bookkeeper, a high school diploma might be enough, and sometimes companies offer on-the-job training.
Okay.
For a full-charge bookkeeper, while high school could technically be the minimum, employers usually prefer candidates with maybe an associate's or even a bachelor's degree in accounting, finance, or something related.
More formal education often.
Yeah, and definitely more substantial experience and a deeper understanding of accounting principles are expected.
And I assume that difference in responsibility, experience, education. It probably shows up in the paycheck, too.
Absolutely. The blog post cites some figures, a national average around $18.30 an hour for a regular bookkeeper. But a full charge bookkeeper, they typically command a higher average, maybe $20.57 an hour, with some roles going up, towards $30.27 an hour or more, depending on experience and location.
Okay, a noticeable difference there. Now, we've mentioned CPAs a couple of times, certified public accountants. Where does a full charge bookkeeper fit in relation to them? It's not the same thing, right?
Definitely not. That's a really crucial distinction to understand. The Aiming High Solutions info is clear. A full charge bookkeeper is not a CPA.
Right.
Accountants, especially CPAs, typically hold bachelor's degrees, often masters, and they go through rigorous exams and licensing to get that CPA certification.
Right, it's a whole different level of qualification.
It is. You could maybe think of it like this. A regular bookkeeper meticulously records all the ingredients in a recipe. An accountant takes the final dish, analyzes the nutritional value, suggests improvements, maybe plans future menus entirely differently.
Okay, I like that analogy. Where does the full charge bookkeeper fit?
The full charge bookkeeper, they're doing a bit of both. They're recording the ingredients thoroughly, maybe doing some initial analysis of the nutritional content, ensuring the recipe was followed correctly.
Got it. So the level of formal education and those professional credentials, that's a key difference. What about the actual scope of work they handle day to day compared to an accountant?
Well, while a full charge bookkeeper can prepare financial statements and even tax documents, these often might still need final review or sign-off from a CPA, especially for official purposes like audits or complex filings.
Oh, okay.
And full charge bookkeepers generally don't offer the same level of, say, comprehensive tax planning advice or high-level strategic financial consulting that a CPA would provide. That's usually beyond their scope.
So it sounds like accountants tend to focus more on that big picture analysis, the strategic guidance,
Hmm.
whereas full charge bookkeepers are more centered on the detailed execution, the accurate recording, and the regular reporting. Is that
Yeah,
fair?
that's a good way to put it, yeah. Accountants often spend more time analyzing the why behind the numbers and providing strategic recommendations. Full charge bookkeepers, while definitely having a broader role than regular ones, primarily concentrate on maintaining those accurate, complete records and preparing the standard financial reports needed to run the business.
Right.
And as the blog points out, there are regulatory things too. Certain official documents, audits, they legally require a CPA's involvement. That's just outside what a full charge bookkeeper typically does.
Okay, that clears things up nicely. So we have a good handle on what they are and how they compare.
Right.
But let's talk benefits. Why would a business actually, invest in hiring one? What's the payoff?
Yeah, good question. The Aiming High Solutions Guide outlines several pretty compelling advantages. One big one is cost effectiveness.
Really?
Yeah.
Even though they earn more than a regular bookkeeper.
Well, yeah, especially for small to medium-sized businesses.
Mm.
Bringing on one full-charge bookkeeper to handle both the detailed bookkeeping and some of the higher-level accounting functions can actually be more economical than hiring, say, a separate bookkeeper and a part-time accountant, or building out a tiny accounting department too early.
Ah, okay. Consolidating expertise into one role can save money overall. Makes sense. What else?
Streamlined financial management is another key benefit. Having one dedicated person managing the bulk of your financial processes just creates more efficiency and consistency.
A single point of contact?
Exactly. Instead of trying to coordinate between maybe a bookkeeper, an owner doing some tasks, maybe an outside accountant for other things, it simplifies things.
Yeah, I can see that. What about the quality of the financial info itself? Accuracy.
That's a big one because they
Yeah.
typically have more experience and a broader skill set than, say, an entry-level bookkeeper. Full-charge bookkeepers can usually ensure your financial records are kept really meticulously. That leads to a higher degree of overall financial accuracy.
And that's crucial for, well, everything. Taxes, loans.
Everything. Day-to-day decisions, tax prep, applying for financing, talking to investors. Having reliable numbers is fundamental.
So better quality financial management, not just potential cost savings. What about the impact on the business owner personally? Their time and focus.
Oh, that's huge. For many owners, this is the biggest win. Delegating this comprehensive level of financial management to someone skilled frees them up.
Right.
They can actually concentrate on their core job leading the team, developing products, driving sales, growing the company, not getting bogged down in spreadsheets.
The peace of mind factor.
Exactly. Knowing your finances are in capable hands, that's invaluable for an entrepreneur.
And thinking about growth.
Yeah.
Can a full charge bookkeeper scale with the business?
Absolutely. That's the idea of scalable financial support. As your business grows, transaction volume increases, things get more complex. A competent full-charge bookkeeper can often adapt.
How so?
They can potentially handle more complex tasks, more analysis, maybe even start supervising junior staff as needed before you reach the point where you absolutely need a full multi-person accounting department or a dedicated controller or CFO.
So it sounds like an ideal kind of bridge role, maybe, for businesses that have outgrown basic bookkeeping but aren't quite ready or don't need that full accounting team structure yet.
That's a great way to think about it, yeah. A bridge to the next level of financial management maturity.
Okay, so let's talk skills.
Right.
If a business is looking to hire one or if someone wants to become one, what are we looking for? What does it take?
Right. The guide highlights a mix of things technical skills, professional skills, and even interpersonal ones.
Makes sense. Let's start with technical.
Okay, technical. A solid understanding of fundamental accounting and bookkeeping principles is non-negotiable. Familiarity with GAAP, generally accepted accounting principles, is also usually essential.
GAAP, remind us quickly what that is.
Sure, think of GAAP as the common set of rules and standards for financial reporting in the U.S. It ensures consistency, so when you look at financial statements from different companies, they're prepared using basically the same language.
Got it. Consistency rules. What else technical?
Proficiency with accounting software is a must. QuickBooks, Xero, whatever the company uses. And a good working knowledge of relevant tax regulations and compliance requirements is also key.
Okay, so a strong base of financial knowledge and comfort with the tools. What about the more practical day-to-day professional skills?
Meticulous attention to detail, absolutely critical. You can't afford mistakes in financial records.
Number one, probably.
High up there, yeah. Strong organizational skills are needed too to juggle all those different tasks efficiently. Advanced computer skills, especially with spreadsheets like Excel, beyond just basic data entry, and obviously the accounting programs themselves,
Okay.
and critical thinking. The ability to not just record numbers, but to spot potential discrepancies, identify issues, and figure out how to resolve them.
Problem solving with numbers. You got it.
And it's not all just about numbers and screens, is it? They interact with people.
Precisely. So interpersonal abilities matter.
Mhm.
Effective communication skills are vital. They need to be able to explain financial concepts clearly, maybe to owners or managers who don't have a finance background.
Yeah, translating accountant speak.
Right. They also need a high degree of integrity and discretion. They're handling sensitive financial information, so trustworthiness is paramount.
Absolutely.
They should be capable of working independently, managing their own workload, but also collaborating effectively with management, maybe external accountants, and potentially other team members.
And if they supervise staff?
And leadership skills come into play too, being able to guide and manage junior clerks, for example.
Okay, quite a well-rounded skill set required.
Oh.
What about the formal side, education, certifications? What's typical?
Well, the Aiming High Solutions blog notes that specific requirements can vary by employer, but most full-charge bookkeepers seem to have some kind of post-secondary education.
Like a degree, often an associate's or even a bachelor's degree in accounting, finance, or maybe general business administration. Coursework in things like tax prep, auditing basics, accounting procedures, economics, business law, that's all highly beneficial.
So more than just high school usually.
Usually, yeah. Especially for roles demanding more analysis.
And we mentioned CPA for accountants. Are there similar credentials specifically for bookkeepers that add value?
Yes, definitely. There are recognized certifications in the bookkeeping field. The American Institute of Professional Bookkeepers, the AIPB, offers the Certified Bookkeeper CB designation.
Okay, CB.
And there's also the National Association of Certified Public Bookkeepers, NAACPB, which offers the Certified Public Bookkeeper CTB credentials.
CPB. Got it. Are these required?
Not always mandatory, no. But getting one certainly demonstrates a bookkeeper's commitment to professional standards. It validates their competence. It can definitely make a candidate stand out.
Shows they're serious about the profession.
Exactly. And the guide also mentions a common career path. Many start as regular bookkeepers, gain that practical experience, get really good with the software, maybe take on more responsibility over time, and then progress into a full charge role.
So it's a path with clear steps for growth and development.
It can be, yes.
What's the typical work environment like? Are they always stuck in an office cubicle?
Huh. Well, traditionally, yeah, mostly standard office settings. But the blog correctly points out that remote work has become way more common recently.
More flexibility now.
Definitely. The schedule is generally full-time, around 40 hours a week, but that can certainly ramp up during busy time.
Like tax season, month end, year end.
Exactly. Tax season, fiscal year-end closings. Those periods often mean longer hours. And in terms of employment, they might work directly for one company, be an employee, or they could work independently, maybe through their own practice or an agency, managing the books for multiple clients. That's really common for smaller businesses that need this level of expertise, but maybe not full-time.
Right, fractional support.
Precisely.
Okay, this paints a really clear picture of the what and how. But for a business owner listening, the million-dollar question is probably when. When is the right time for my business to hire a full-charge bookkeeper? What are the signs?
Yeah, that's the critical question.
Yeah.
The Aiming High Solutions Guide offers some really specific and I think helpful trigger points to look out for.
Okay, let's hear them.
One is simply when your business is clearly past that initial startup chaos. You've got a steady, maybe growing volume of financial transactions, and it's just becoming too much to manage effectively with basic bookkeeping, or maybe the owner doing it themselves.
The sheer volume gets overwhelming.
Right. Another really strong indicator is when you, the owner, find yourself consistently spending a significant and probably increasing amount of your own valuable time on bookkeeping and financial admin.
Time you could be spending
On strategy, on sales, on leading the team,
Well,
on actually growing the business, not just tracking it. If finance is eating up your core leadership time, that's a big red flag.
definitely a common bottleneck. I hear that a lot. What other signs?
Well, if your business's financial needs are just getting more complex, Maybe you need more sophisticated reporting than basic software spits out, or more in-depth analysis to understand profitability by product line, or cash flow projections.
Things beyond simple debits and credits.
Exactly. If your current setup can't easily provide those deeper insights, that's a key signal. Also, related to that, if you realize you need someone who can not only record the transactions accurately, but also interpret them and offer meaningful financial insights to help you make better decisions.
Moving from just history to foresight.
Perfectly put. If you need that proactive understanding, not just historical records, a full charge bookkeeper could be the answer.
Okay, so complexity and the need for insights.
Yeah.
Any others?
Yeah, a couple more. If you feel you need more comprehensive financial guidance and support, but you're not yet at the stage where you can justify or afford, say, a full-time controller or CFO,
Right.
a full-charge bookkeeper can be a really valuable and cost-effective middle ground. They offer more than basic bookkeeping without the full executive cost.
A strategic stepping stone again.
Exactly. And finally, a more urgent sign. If your business is experiencing recurring cash flow problems or maybe other financial inefficiencies that you can't quite pinpoint a fix,
Oh.
yeah, that often requires specialized attention and expertise to diagnose and resolve. That's a compelling reason to bring in someone with the skills of a full-charge bookkeeper.
So difficulty managing, owner time drain, increasing complexity, needing insights, bridging the gap to CFO, or actual financial problems.
That sums it up well, and the common thread through all of them, it's usually business growth and the increasing financial complexity that naturally comes with it.
This has been incredibly thorough. Now, the blog we've been drawing from is from Aiming High Solutions based in Fort Worth. How do they fit into this picture? What's their angle?
Well, they position themselves as providing exactly these kinds of full-charge bookkeeping services, specifically tailored for small to medium-sized businesses right there in the Fort Worth area.
So they serve that niche.
Yeah, businesses that need that robust level of financial management, but maybe don't need or want the overhead of a full in-house accounting department. They talk about their peace of mind system,
Okay.
which seems to emphasize their commitment to not just recording transactions, but actually providing valuable insights and actionable information back to their clients, helping them understand the numbers.
More than just data entry.
Right. And they mention offering related services too, like bookkeeping cleanup if things are messy.
Happens all the time, I bet.
Oh, yeah. QuickBooks consultation, even fractional CFO services for businesses needing higher-level strategic advice. So it shows they can offer broader support. Their core message really revolves around accuracy, integrity, and delivering a service that's oriented towards helping the business grow.
Empowering the owners.
That seems to be the goal, yes.
All right. Okay, so wrapping this all up, based on everything we've discussed, is hiring a full-charge bookkeeper the right move for every growing business out there? Is it a universal solution?
Probably not universal, no. But the information strongly suggests that full-charge bookkeeping offers a really well-balanced solution for a specific stage of business.
That stage being.
The stage where you've clearly outgrown basic bookkeeping, your needs are more complex, you need better insights. But you're not quite at the point where a full dedicated accounting department or a high-level CFO is necessary or financially feasible yet.
That sweet spot in the middle.
Exactly. The decision really has to hinge on your specific business's current size, the complexity of its finances, and where you see it going, your growth trajectory.
It's an investment decision.
It is. It's definitely a more significant investment than basic bookkeeping services.
Yeah.
But the potential returns and enhanced accuracy, deeper financial insights, better decision-making, and frankly, that invaluable peace of mind often make it a very worthwhile investment for many established small to medium-sized businesses on a growth path.
Because
Ultimately, getting your financial management house in order, having those solid practices, that really forms a critical foundation for sustainable, successful growth. You can't really build high without a strong base.
a really solid foundation. Well, this has been a truly insightful deep dive into the world of full-charge bookkeeping.
Glad we could explore it.
So, for everyone listening, now that you've got, hopefully, a clearer picture of this role and what it can offer, maybe think about this. What specific aspect of your business finances could potentially gain the most from this level of comprehensive management? And then, what kind of impact could making that positive change actually have on your business's future growth and success? Something to chew on.
Definitely worth considering.
Thanks so much for taking this deep dive with us today. We really trust that the insights we shared will provide some valuable guidance as you navigate your own business's financial journey.